good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're viewing from. This is Laura Thompson on TAN TV, and it's Women's History Month, and we are honoring and spotlighting women all month long during the month of March. And so we have the distinct privilege and pleasure of introducing and interviewing the lovely Andrea Vocab Sanderson. And so, I saw somewhere that they called her vocabulist, but for some reason I thought of it, and I was telling her I'm going to start calling you vocabulist, and she said somebody already does. So anywho, so good morning, vocab. How are you, madam?
I'm doing wonderful. So good to be here with you celebrating Women's History Month.
Wow,
International.
I know it. I love it. I love it. And you are a prime candidate for the ultimate honor for during Women's History Month. And
Thank
so, before we get started with the interview, could you just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you from, what you do, and why you do it?
Sure. I am a San Antonio native, and I have chosen to stay here in San Antonio and cultivate the artistic scene that we have here. I function as an artist. I am multidisciplinary, so I sing, I rap, I do poetry, I event coordinate and host events. And I also teach arts education classes, mostly creative writing, but I do teach other things. And then I also work in the industry as well. I work at the Carver Community Cultural Center. I am the Arts Education and Community Engagement Coordinator. It's a long title, but it basically means I put together classes and I organize events and do community outreach.
Wow, so that's phenomenal. So when did you start? You're a poet. That's how I first met you. That you were a poet,
Yes, ma'am.
and you still are a poet. But how did you get started in the arts, and what compelled you to pursue the arts?
Sure. So I grew up in the Black church. I mean, and I grew up in a lot of different types of churches, but one of the churches that I grew up in was New Creation Christian Fellowship, which is a non-denominational Christian church. And I was always a part of all the auxiliaries, everything you could think of, from the Urshabird to the choir, everything. I was doing all of that stuff. And I found just such a deep love for the arts. And tragically, at age 13, one of my very close friends was murdered.
Oh,
And I believed that if she had been introduced in deeper into the arts, and because I mean, we had arts classes at school, but if she had gotten fallen in love with the arts and been introduced to the very many ways that it can present itself, that maybe she would not have gone down the path she went down, and her life wouldn't have taken that turn. So I'm really interested in seeing young people get the arts as early as possible.
wow. So you've been doing this. You eventually became the poet laureate, but before that, what led to you getting to that point? What are some of the activities that you participated in that kind of paved the way for you to get there?
Sure. So when I was in my early 20s, I was introduced to the open mic scene here in San Antonio. There was a spot called Free Verse Fridays, and I attended faithfully every month. And then from there, I started going to Puro Slam, which was the only sanctioned slam that the city had at that time. And I slammed from '05 to '08, and I was on 3 San Antonio teams and 1 Corpus Christi team, which a lot of people, I don't think they know that I was on the Corpus Christi slam team,
Wow.
even though I lived here in San Antonio. And from there, like around '06, in the middle of that, I started hosting events. Before then, I was doing gospel rap music and stuff like that. And I, came in and out of doing music, but I always held on to poetry. And in 2020, I was able to become the poet laureate of San Antonio, Texas, and served a 3-year term instead of a 2-year term. And now all poets laureate for San Antonio have 3-year terms.
Oh wow! So you laid the foundation and set the standard for poet laureates in San Antonio. That's awesome. So one thing that you didn't talk about is your involvement with Second Verse. That's where I first learned of the vocabulous vocab. So tell us a little bit about that experience.
Sure. So, when after Freeverse ended, well, even before Freeverse ended, Charles, which was the gentleman that founded Charles Peters, he founded Freeverse. He moved away. He was pursuing his rap career with his group Mojo. And a few of us decided we were going to take over hosting before it ended. And that was Glow, myself, Kenton, who at the time she was married to, and this guy named Jeff Reggie. We started co-hosting the event together, and then when it ended, we were like, we got to do something else. And I was like, well, why don't we call it Second Verse? Because the first one was Free Verse, so let's continue this
Oh,
as Second Verse. And so that's how we got the name Second Verse. And we did like a 13-year stint. We stopped right around 2023-ish. We kind of went through a weird phase with the pandemic where we had to do some on again, off again based on, whether we were able to gather in public. And but around 2023 is when we officially concluded doing well. A little sooner than that, because then after that we started the remix. Glow and I did the remix for a little while, but yeah, we had it several years. We won some awards for being the best open mic in the nation, and we've had the who's who. We had the who's who of the poetry scene come through and feature, and we had you come through and talk about highfalutin folk.
I know, right? I remember that, and I don't have a platform to go out there and say that anymore. But I enjoyed that time, and you all gave me my first opportunity to be on stage, and so I appreciate that. So fast forward, you became the poet laureate, and
Mm.
so tell us a little bit about that experience. I know you started during the pandemic, and then you kind of got your term extended.
So right when the pandemic started, April of 2020. I mean, they announced the shutdown in March of 2020, and in April of 2020, I was named poet laureate. I put out my book that same year in February. So it's like I put out my book, then the shutdown happened, then I became poet laureate. And the first year was a lot of crisis response, making music and songs about the going through the pandemic, what the CDC told us to do. Like I turned that into a song because several artists did that as a part of their campaign to like notify the public of what was happening. I did a TED talk that year. I painted the ground with my poem that year. I helped found a nonprofit organization in 2020. I did so much work just in that year alone, and then I continued the work, and we were able to come back outdoors and people were able to do stuff. I apologize for that sound, for that noise. I'm in my office, so
Okay, that's fine.
please forgive. I turned the phone down so you don't have to hear it ring. Um, but it was just like it's been such an amazing time for me as an artist, all the things that I've done, leading up to 2020, but then how much it accelerated and how much I was called upon, putting out albums during that time. Now my second book is about to come out, and I'm blessed and honored to carry this mantle.
Wow, and I mean, back then you were doing that, all of that work with a full-time job. Uh,
Yep, and now I'm still doing now I'm still doing it with a full-time job. It's just
wa-
different. That at that time I was working night shift at juvenile detention center, and I worked there for 20 years, retired early.
wow,
And I was like, I'm gonna pursue my art full time. And I didn't know it would lead to a career shift in this year, or late last year when I became the arts education coordinator here at the Carver. But I started here in October, and it really is a continuation of what I am very passionate about, which is seeing people engaged in community doing all types of creative work.
wow. So you've done basically what an artist dreams of doing. The opportunity, and you had the opportunity to create your own path
Mhm.
and the path for other artists. And so we're super proud of you as a poet, as an artist, all of that, as an author, a writer, and as a San Antonian. You know, I'm a native San Antonian, and I've watched you grow, and it's just like you just went into a whirlwind and really have built a platform that is notable, and that people, want to be a part of. So you've written one book, you said?
Yes, my first book came out in February of 2020, and
Okay.
now I have a book coming out this month called The Seasoned Woman. My first book was called She Lives in Music,
Oh
and
wow.
this book, and that was on Flower Song Press. Now this book is on Gnashing Teeth Publishing, and it is The Seasoned Woman. It is named after a concert that I did last year here at the Carver. Actually, I was co-commissioned by the Carver and Art to Action. I won some grants and developed the show by going on a residency in 3 different cities,
Wow.
developed the show with a lady named Lubana Alquintar. Um, she's a Syrian opera singer, and we just did an amazing fusion of jazz and blues and hip hop and traditional like Syrian music, classical music, and things of that nature. It's a cool fusion. It's a very interesting and unique show. And so the book has like 53 poems in it,
Wow.
and I'm so excited about putting it out.
Wow, that's phenomenal. And so I don't know where I like the names of different businesses and ventures these days. Gnashing Teeth Publishing. I
Mhm.
love that. I love that
Yeah,
name.
they're a press based out of the Austin area.
Oh, okay. That sounds like an Austin type name. So Seasoned Woman. So
Mhm.
be on the lookout for that. When is that going to be released?
You can order it now. If you go to my Instagram, which is Vocabulous, how you call me Vocabulous. If you go to my Instagram, if you go to my link tree in my bio,
Okay.
there you can go directly to my link tree and it'll take you to the page to do the ordering. And I'll have it linked to my website pretty soon. I'm going to sit down with my friend and we're going to link it to my website, AndreaVocabSanderson.com. It'll be up there too. But for now, the best bet is to either go straight to Gnashing Teeth or to go to my Instagram.
Wow. So is it going to be a physical copy coming out soon?
Yes, so you go on there and just order it and they'll ship it to your house.
Oh, okay. Oh,
But
so
I will have a party. It's gonna be at Nowhere Books. I haven't gotten a confirmation on the date. We're trying to do the first Sunday in April for
okay.
my book launch party, but, stay tuned. Just follow me on social media or follow Nowhere Books, on social media, and Nowhere Books is on Broadway. It's a storefront on Broadway
Oh, so it's here in San Antonio.
in San Antonio. Yes,
Awesome.
I'll go to other cities too and do book signings, but I'm gonna start here.
Wow, awesome. Yeah, you got to start on your home ground.
That's right.
So you got a bunch of events coming up too. It seems like I'm like this woman never slows down.
No,
Um,
we can't.
as a matter of fact, we were supposed to come on at 6, but she's so busy, and I said I've got to have her on today because this is her day. Uh, and so we were able to manage to get in at 10:30. So we'll re-air and rebroadcast this so that people will be able to see it at the time that we promote it. But what are some of the events
And
that you
thank
have?
you for your flexibility too. I really, really appreciate
Okay.
you being so kind and allowing me to do that. I have some events coming up, which I am performing this month on the 28th. There is a fundraiser. So let me say this. There's a nonprofit organization that is worldwide called Zonta.
Okay.
Their focus is to promote the awareness of human trafficking and to stop human trafficking,
Wow.
and just any in violence towards women as well. They're anti-violence towards women, and so which
Wow.
is a great month to really focus on them. So on
Mhm.
the 28th of this month at the Embassy Landmark Hotel, there's an event going on. I'll have a band out there performing, but it is a fundraiser because they're always doing things to raise awareness, and that requires money. And so we're
Mhm.
having a fundraiser there. If you're interested, you can contact me. You can contact me via email or on social media, and or try to reach out to the Zonta local chapter because we need more women joining Zonta to bring
Wow.
awareness. It would be so important, and if people could do that. Let's see. A lot of the performances and stuff I have coming up, they are gonna be at schools, but on the 17th of April at Plaza de Armas, which is
Mhm.
a local, it's San Antonio owned, but it's like a curated art space. There
Okay.
is, and they know it as the Common Culture Gallery, I think also as well. But April 17th, I'm hosting an event, and it's going to be other poets and other artists out there. But I'm hosting and featuring that night. It's going to be a good show.
Wow.
And yeah, so just those are some of the things I'm doing. And on April 24th is a big one here at the Carver in the Little Carver. There are going to be three African American women poets laureate in
Wow.
conversation. Yeah.
Wow.
And so I'm one of the three poets laureate. One of the other ones is Miss Treadaway. She was a national poet laureate. And then the other one is Texas, offgoing Texas poet laureate. She's still in, I think she still has her position until April. Um, but Amanda Johnston, she's a current Texas poet laureate. She's the first African American woman Texas poet laureate.
Wow.
So all three of us are going to be in conversation here at the Carver on the
Wow.
24th, and people can get their tickets pretty soon. I think they've opened it up for people to get tickets.
Wow. And April is National Poets Month. And
Absolutely.
so y'all need to mark y'all's calendars for, tell us the date again, April
April 24th is
24th.
that event.
Okay. And so, and so I think you should be up. I don't know how you get in those positions, but you should be the next Texas poet laureate and then the next national. You just got to keep moving up, vocabulous.
I went for Texas Poet Laureate. I did not make it into the short list for this next two because they just so what I didn't know until I sat on a panel. It's interesting. I sat on a panel to decide the short list for Texas Poet Laureate before, but they do 2 years in a row. So they line it up because you only have a 1 year term. So they
Okay.
line up
Oh
the
wow.
next two Poets Laureate. I tried for 2026 and 27, didn't make it. So I'm gonna try again. But
Okay.
it is not easy to make it, and there's a lot of amazing poets in the state of Texas that you go up against. But I'm gonna keep trying.
All right. All right. Well, I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for you. I know you're
Thank you.
limited on time, and your spring break is here, and you're teaching a lot of kids and educating a lot of kids. And so I know you have a short time, but I want to thank you for coming on and hanging out with me for a little bit. We love you, we honor you, and we support
Oh,
you.
thank you.
And we, want to make sure that people know just a little bit of your story. So follow Vocabulous on Instagram and learn more about what she's doing. She's doing amazing, amazing things. She's an amazing, amazing person. And so thank
Appreciate
you for
you.
taking time out of your busy schedule to hang out. And happy Women's History Month to you.
Happy Women's History Month. Thank you.
Right. And you're the epitome of womanhood uh,
Mm,
all over the country. And thank you so much.
appreciate it.
All righty. You're welcome and have a great day.